Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. What if I told you the only thing standing between you and your next big opportunity is your voice? This isn't just another program. Empower Your Message is your ticket to becoming the podcast guest everyone wants. You'll learn how to craft a pitch that gets a hell yes, show up with unshakable confidence, and drop truth bombs that leave hosts and audiences wanting more. No more playing small. No more waiting for permission. It's your time to be heard. Loud, clear, and unforgettable. Visit the link in the show notes to sign up, and let's make your voice impossible to ignore. The mic is waiting. Are you ready? Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast, a platform that was created to help elevate and amplify the voices of women through sharing their stories. Today, my guest is Lara Waldman. She is a manifestation expert, a wealth activator, a business mentor, and a healer. Welcome, Lara. How are you doing today?
I'm so great. Thank you so much for having me on. Very much looking forward to this.
I am so excited to have you here today, Lara, and jump in. We've been trying to get this done for a while, so it's nice to finally have the opportunity to have you here and sit down and share in your story, your journey, and the beautiful light you put out into the world through the work you do. So with that being said, let us jump right in. I would love to know which one of these titles or hats that you wear found you first, and how did she introduce herself?
Very good question. So the first one is healer Lara.
Okay.
First. This actually came to me in meditation. So I was an aspiring actress. That's what I thought I was here to do. And I was all in on that purpose, that mission. And I started meditating. And in meditation, I had a scary experience where I had my eyes closed. And in my mind's eye, I saw in front of me and heard, "You are a healer." And I didn't know what a healer was, but I knew in that moment I wasn't going to be an actress. And to be honest, I was quite pissed off about it. But and then within 6 months, I was working as a healer. I started working with clients. It's just all happened really fast.
Wow, that is fun. Isn't that funny though, how we're on one path and we think, okay, this is it. This is who and how I identify. I'm an actress, and that's what I'm going to be. And then all of a sudden it just takes one little thing and you're on a completely different path. That happened to me too with the photography piece. I am still a photographer and you are still an actress, but it's just taken a different direction. And maybe that direction isn't even forever. You could go back to acting. Who knows? Anything's possible. But it's just funny how things can change in an instant and we're on a totally different path.
Yeah, that's why it's so important not to get too attached with what we do. I don't think I'll be an actress again, but I definitely used, I was training for what I do now, and I didn't know that at the time. So when our ego gets all involved. But now I see, that was really important training. It was a really important step in my journey, but I had to let it go. That was really hard at the time.
Yeah, I'm sure. And so who were you before the world told you who to be, and how has that version of you shaped the woman you are today?
Such an interesting question. I feel like with that question, I go back to sort of 6-year-old me, who was really a wild child. You couldn't really tell me what to do. I was at one with the animals. I saw myself as a professional horse whisperer, although I didn't have a horse. I had an imaginary horse called Chestnut. And I would ride Chestnut to school. And I was just like a wild child, like totally at one with nature and with animals. Very wild and playful, very emotional, and very passionate. And yet that part of me got shut down quite young. And I feel like that is sort of me in my true essence. She just wasn't very held at that point. And she's like a big part of me that's been coming back online almost like only really like in the relative recent history. So I would say that's how I would answer that question. 6-year-old wild rider, nature lover, passionate, emotional.
Horse whisperer.
Who has no horse, by the way?
Your imaginary horse, Chestnut. I love it.
I always say I'm a horsewoman without a horse. That's how I say.
There you go. There you go. Lara, what drives, motivates, and inspires you to keep going and excelling at all that you do?
It's a very good question. There is this drive inside of me, this force that has been with me for a very long time. That is what drives me forward. And you could call that source, the universe, God. You could call that my higher self, my inner guidance, my intuitive wisdom. It talks to me. It's part of me. It's like a flow of energy that when I get out of the way, moves through me and actually informs me what to do. So that's how I would answer that question.
Therein lies the key, is us getting out of our way, which is not easy.
Yeah.
That is a very hard thing to do at times.
Yes.
Because we are our own worst enemies. We are our own biggest hurdles. No one gets in our way more than we do.
It's true. It's really true.
It's hard to break out of that habit sometimes, for sure.
Yeah. For me, I've been doing this for a long time. It's still a daily practice because it's it's still a practice to sort of deeply listen and get out of the way. It's easier now for me now, but it was sort of like a muscle or a skill. It's a skill that I teach people. It's not, anyone can do it. It's just making space to listen and choosing to put that ego to one side.
Okay, so I want to dive in now and speak about the wealth activation manifestation work that you do with your clients. When did you first realize that wealth wasn't just about money? And what did that awakening shift within you?
This was like one of my big spiritual awakenings. I had one at 18, one at 22. And this was, I think I was 32 at this point. I'd had 2 little kids. And at this point, I developed skills as a healer, a channel, spiritual coach. I was having amazing results with my clients. I'd healed a lot of things in myself as well. There was one little area that I had been completely ignoring. And I didn't really realize it until we were so broke and we couldn't even afford to cover our bills. And we had very little money. And I remember I had 2 little babies, 2 kids. And I had this big purpose, but I was completely trapped. I was absolutely stuck and frustrated, exhausted, deep in the pit. And what I'd never considered tuning into and asking guidance for was around money. And I collapsed on the sofa. It was that my house was an absolute mess, exhausted. And I just remember going into my inner channel, my inner guidance, and saying, what is going on with money and this planet? That was my question. And appeared in front of me with this beautiful being about like 12 feet tall. And this being was carrying all this like gold and jewels and was standing in front of me saying, Lara, this is all for you. And I remember looking at it in my mind. I can see with my eyes closed. It was saying, if this is all for me, why is it not here? And my guidance showed me all these blocks and walls that were blocking me from receiving all of this wealth. And that was the start. It was an incredible, a huge pivotal moment for me. And this beautiful being, I went on a kind of inner training, let's say, into wealth, to money. And what the first bit was just understanding I had so much misinformation around money and around wealth and what it was and what it wasn't. Because I actually grew up around a lot of very financially wealthy people. And that beautiful guide and beautiful being trained me and told me all about money and wealth and what it was. And money is a part of it, but you can have money and be quite poor. So wealth includes money, but it's not just about money. And I call it heart, body, soul aligned wealth. So wealth that is integrated in all parts of life, not just focused on monetary wealth. So that was where it began.
That's pretty fucking intense.
I am intense, so I get
not surprising then. There we go. I don't see you as intense though. I don't get that vibe. Maybe because I know you on a different level. I don't know, but I don't get the intense vibe from you at all.
That's good. That's cool. I have a lot of energy. Let's just say that.
There we go. Let's reframe that. I am abundant with energy, which is wealth, right?
Yes.
Because there are a lot of people who are in lack with energy. So there we go.
And I've been there too. Lots of burnout many a times. So I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. What in your opinion, and through the work you do and this people you see, what is people's biggest block or one of their biggest blocks? Or what is it at the core of people's money struggles?
So first of all, it's really important to differentiate the practicals around money and wealth creation. I specialize in the inner game. And what is unconsciously stopping us or blocking us from making money, having money, receiving money, keeping money. I have interviewed like thousands of people at this point around this question. So I was like an energy detective, kind of obsessed with this money block. What's going on? This block. And I was just interviewing and asking so many people and going deep into people's inner psychology. And what I found at the root, because there's layers to get to this point, was essentially not feeling worthy and not feeling good enough, not feeling enough in their essential self, in their relationship with their self. And they were in that, they're feeling very alone, very separate, and projecting money out. So the wealth and money is outside of them, but they are not worthy, they're not deserving, and they're all alone. And that was really a huge block in terms of receiving money and having it and holding it.
That's deep. That really is the inner work. And that's where a lot of people struggle is, I think, being able to sit with themselves and reflect on it to figure out what it is at the root of that. And then to actually go within and look inside, which a lot of people don't want to do. No. It's difficult.
It doesn't.
It's scary.
Good.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Sitting with all that shit is a hard thing to do for sure, but you have to be willing to do the work. Otherwise, you're going to stay stuck.
Yeah. And I would say as part of that kind of, or maybe covering that up, is shame. Shame blocks people from manifesting. It's not just wealth. And that sense that in the shame is I am not enough and I'm not good enough. And there's these sort of shadow aspects. I call them the unintegrated parts, where they really cause a lot of fuckery when it comes to wealth and business in your life. And it's important to say as well, this happens for people who also have a lot of money. So it's not just about having money or not having money. It's actually, my big passion is helping us to heal our relationship with money and wealth and what that actually means. So it's so fascinating, the psychology of money and wealth. And obviously I don't focus just on money per se, but you can have it and still have this not enough wind running. It's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think that's important to mention because people think, oh, this person's wealthy, they have money, they don't have any worries, they don't have any problems. That's bullshit. They do. They worry about keeping that wealth.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think that, now correct me if I'm wrong, but that ties into perhaps a lack mindset a little bit.
Yeah. So
worried about losing it.
Yeah. I coach also a lot of very successful people you judge to be wealthy and successful who are still struggling with it. And again, what's really interesting to me around that is we carry our survival patterns. So I often have to coach people. I have to find out the facts of their financial reality because like their brain's still saying there's not enough. I don't have enough. In where some people think, wait a minute. And so this is what's so interesting. It's like what our survival brain is saying, what our nervous system is saying is not necessarily the facts of our reality. And so this is where it's like there's a lot to unpick when you're looking at a relationship with money. And also there's so much going on behind the scenes because money is not something we talk about. So someone could on the front end be like, I've got this multi-million-dollar business and actually they're drowning in debt, for example. So we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes, but the root of any kind of money problems or issues, from my experience, is this feeling not enough, not good enough, not worthy.
There's so many layers to this shit, this story, like all the conditioning that we have been taught and grown up with. Money doesn't grow on trees. You have to work so hard in order to be successful and make money, and all this bullshit conditioning. That's a lot of shit you have to break apart, break down, or burn to the ground and start to rebuild again from a new foundation.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I spent before I started teaching or facilitating any of this. I spent 2 years in the training with me and my inner guidance, dismantling. I could not believe it. I had no idea. There was like a mountain of money blocks that I didn't even know about because a lot of our money blocks are in the subconscious. They're not usually conscious. They're sort of running us and driving us. And I spent 2 years just looking at and seeing and feeling all of this. I was actually quite shocked. I had no idea how much was going on beneath the surface and just dismantling, interrogating it. And my guidance was like, this is not the truth. If you believe all of these things about money and wealth in yourself, it will be true. You will manifest it. Yeah. Actually not the essential truth. So which game do you want to play? And I fought it, kicking and screaming. I was like the worst student. I had so many objections. I was like, like interrogating it. I thought it was really so different to what I thought was the truth. And so It's been like a slow burn for my brain and my nervous system to get on board with the stuff I teach and facilitate now.
That's incredible self-awareness, though, for sure. And the willingness, again, like you said, a lot of people don't want to do the work. So the willingness to want to put in the work and do the work in order to improve and to grow and expand, I think it's amazing.
Thank you. But
I
didn't want to do the work. I just want to be really honest about that. I was guided.
Kicking and screaming. I don't want to do it.
I didn't want to do it. I was guided, and I'd been following my guidance since I was 18, and this time I was 32, and I learned to trust it. I really did not want to talk about money, teach about money, work on money, grow a business, none of it. But I was guided to, and I'm so glad I followed it. But just to say, I was kicking and screaming all the while.
What is conscious wealth creation?
Very good question. So this is about creating wealth. This is my language, in alignment with your heart or your heart's consciousness, in alignment with your soul, your higher self, and also in alignment with your body's wisdom. So the idea is that we're creating wealth in every area of life, just financially. It's in alignment with who you are and what you want, which beautifully, when you're really honoring your own body and honoring your own heart and honoring your own soul, will indirectly also be contributing to life thriving on this planet. So the idea is that when we're really creating wealth in this place, we're going to be bringing in life-giving energy for ourselves and for others. And this is a big part of my mission, is how do we do this whole money business thing from a different place where we're supporting life to thrive, starting with
wealth. I love that you keep reinforcing the fact that wealth is not just about money. There's so many different facets and areas of wealth. And so I love that. And thank you for sharing that. How do you define wealth, not in numbers, but in energy, embodiment, and legacy?
It's a very good question. So my big passion is helping people to get clear on what wealth is for them, because wealth for you and wealth for me might be different. For some people, it is financial wealth, having multi-millions, financial freedom, never having to work again. But for other people, it's about having enough money to be able to not have to work at all. Or it might be to travel. It might be about the wealth of time or living a really simple, beautiful quality of life. It's very different for different people. So I would say this is part of my work, is really tapping into what it is, what is a wealthy life for you, and not from the ego though, because that's the challenging bit, is that heart conscious, that soul's conscious, that body's wisdom. And there is a vision inside of you. I call it your wealth seed that when it's planted and nourished, it knows how to grow. So it's sort of tapping into that. Like I said, I didn't want to teach about money and grow a business at all, but it was part of my kind of DNA on some level, my soul aligned mission that wanted to grow. It's always been there. I've seen the same thing always over and over again since I was 18. So that's how I would answer it. It's like really getting clear on what that is for you. And I work on, there's a few wealth pillars I like to work with. And obviously money is one of them because we need it this time on this planet. But it also depends. Some people don't need as much money as they think. Because if actually wealth for them is like quality time with their family, like how much money is that actually? So maybe you don't need to work as much as you think. For example, and this is about really getting in touch with what's important to you.
What are the wealth pillars then? You mentioned your wealth pillars. Are they? Could you share those?
Yeah. So I work with a wealth wheel. So if you imagine there's a wheel, at the center of the wheel is you. It's your being. You are the source. You are the center. And that's your connection with yourself and the universe. And there's 6 main pillars that I work with that come out of that center point. That's money, finance, business or work, health, your body, home, relationships, and fun or fun adventure play. So it's basically nothing to do with work and business. And those I found are like the 6 core pillars that create a life of true abundance. And because I found that you can have lots of money, but no love, or you can have or a beautiful home, but I don't know, you're really unfulfilled in your work. And what I found is if one pillar is doing really well, another pillar is neglected, you'll still feel lack. You're still going to be in a space of lack. So it's about understanding that what's going to create that true sense of fulfillment, wholeness, and kind of abundance is going to be looking at these 6 core pillars from my experience anyway.
So having abundance in all 6 areas, in all 6 pillars.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I do.
Yes. If money could speak, what would it say about your current relationship with it?
I'm so glad you asked me this now and not 10 years ago. I would say my relationship, this is a question I asked. If you're in a relationship with money, what is your relationship? And I would say I have a very safe and sexy relationship with money. We are
Safe and sexy.
time. We're having a fantastic, it feels very sensual, very caring, very loving, very grounded, very pragmatic, like very practical, very rooted now. But honestly, it has taken me quite a long time to get to this beautiful relationship I have with money now. Thank you.
Safe and sexy. I love it. What is the most powerful money belief that you've ever had to break up with?
Money is the root of all evil.
Yes. There's so many though, right?
Funny.
Money doesn't grow on trees, all of these other things. But yeah, I would say I heard that one a lot too growing up. Money is the root of all evil. And people really let that get ingrained into their minds, into their brains, and they do embody it. It's, oh, that person's got so much money. They're evil. They're not good. People with money are evil. All of these things. It's fucking crazy. The beliefs we have.
It's amazing. Bad, greedy. And like, I hang out with, in terms of the general sort of population, I'm around quite wealthy people, really. But they talk as if they're the poorest, and they still talk about wealthy people as bad, as is separate from them. I'm like, you realize you are wealthy, right? You realize, this sort of thing of wealthy, rich people are over there. And it's so interesting. So that was a big one. And I really believe that to be true, because deep in the spiritual world, it was like, money is bad. Rich people are bad. And I understand why that point of view is there, because it can corrupt. But for me, it's not money. It's not a money problem. It's a people problem.
It's the person. Yeah, exactly. Money itself is not evil. It's energy. It's not evil. It's the people who hold the money. It's because you're going to get that in every area. Just because they're rich, there are poor people that are evil. It doesn't. Money has nothing to do with it.
Exactly. And that it really is so interesting. It's a neutral energy. And yeah, you can do bad things with it. You can do good things with it. So it's not money. It's the people.
No, that's so wild, that perspective. Like, that's really hitting me right now. It's this belief is easily shattered when you shift your mindset or shift that perspective, that tiny little bit, to realize, wait a minute, this has nothing to do with money. It's the people who possess the energy that are the evil ones. It's not the actual energy itself.
Actually, and also, I don't believe that anyone is evil either. So we are very nuanced as human beings. We have everyone and everything is light and shadow. And this is what happens is we project out, because we actually don't want to look at our own shadow. So my big thing is we all have that darkness inside. Everyone does. No one is pure holy, but
the pure light.
Yes. And spiritual people love to think they're the light and then there's the dark. And it's actually a very dangerous point of view. And so and you can have people that you could do really evil, horrible things. It can actually also do nice and kind things. So it's not, we need to be a little bit more nuanced. And I think humans love to be very binary about everything. It's this and that, and it's that side or that.
Yeah.
And the truth is way messier than that, and is more gray. But what I found a big part of this work is owning your own shadow and understanding that we all have unconscious aspects and that have the capacity to do dark and unkind things. And it's about, really, for me, this work is really about learning how to work with those parts, hold them, and be better leaders, be better humans.
Yes. That's it right there. There needs to be a course. I'm telling you, I've said this for about 1.5 years, 2 years now. There needs to be a course on being a kind human. There really does. And there's not anything out there that I know of. I think that needs to be created and taught, because there's so many people. I think we could all benefit from it. A refresher course, if you will, for some, but some really need it more than others.
Yeah, my programs are actually designed, I wouldn't say a kind human. I call it heart, body, soul aligned leadership. How to be better leaders in your business or finances in your life. So all my programs, I'm teaching people how to manifest and heal. It's actually really about how do we human better? And we have to start with ourselves, because I was in the Love and Light Brigade with the healing spiritual community, where you can be really nice, really sweet, really kind, but still not be really in your power as a human being. So I've been really interested in that. So that's sort of the level that I like to play on, which is ultimately about being better humans, but it doesn't always mean being nice all the time either.
No, for sure. In what ways do you see women particularly sabotaging their financial power, and how can they rewrite that pattern?
Man, it is such a huge subject for everybody, because I coach all people, but women have some bigger mountains to climb in some ways. just because of
Right.
history. So there's a lot of answers to that question, but I would say the biggest pattern I see is where women give their power away, where we've been trained, it's not for us, let someone else lead, make someone else responsible for their financial empowerment. It's very unconscious, or the sense that you have to fight for it. So there's either you're fighting for it, which is this quite like masculine push force energy, or you give your power away and let someone else do the earning, deal with the money. It's like a little damsel in distress, or like the little girl that looking for someone else to save her or rescue. I would say those are probably like the two patterns I see the most.
Yeah. It's just thinking about this, listening to you share that and thinking about the whole conversation. I've been thinking about this a lot, and the conditioning that all of us have been subject to. And I would say more than half the beliefs and the shit we have up here is someone else's shit that has been ingrained into. Isn't that fucking crazy? When you sit down and really think about that, this shit isn't even mine.
Yeah.
And I'm carrying it like it's my fucking weight to carry.
Yeah.
And it's not.
Exactly. Let me reinforce it as well. So most of what we think and what we feel and how we react is conditioning, I would say. And that comes from in the womb up until this life you've got. But we know more about DNA and like going back many generations. So there's so much we're carrying that isn't even ours. It's not from your life, your lived experience. And this is the thing this is what I've been obsessed with, what blocks us from manifesting money, wealth for 20 years. And it's just, there's so much going on. And the solution is very simple, but we have to be willing to look at what's happening as a story that's not the absolute facts. And that's quite difficult. Our brains will be like, wait a minute, there's plenty of data and evidence to back this point of view up. We'll fight to be right. But it's something you're trying to be right about. And is that actually serving you? Do you like what you're fighting for? Yeah, I think it's really brave, this work, because it really requires you to dismantle so many thoughts, beliefs, stories, identities, but that also are based in sort of history too. So it's not that it's not true. It's just that it no longer necessarily has to be the story that's running your life into your future.
Is it really that simple though? You said it's simple,
but not easy. My practice, to help people dismantle this, is very simple, but it's not easy because it's so hard to get out of your own stories by yourself.
It is. We need guidance. We need support.
We do. We really do. And I used to think, what was wrong with me? Why can't I do this? Why is it so hard? But I was in the I'm all alone in the universe story, trying to do it by myself. And I did get relatively far on my own. But actually, we do need each other. We need to have the right line support to really thrive. And it took me way too long to realize that. We do need to be supported with this work, from my experience anyway.
But I think the first piece of it is that self-awareness to realize, wait a minute, this shit isn't mine. Yes. I think that's probably one of the hardest parts, is coming to that realization and sitting with it. Wait a minute. Then the next piece, which is, I would say, equally as hard or maybe a little bit easier, but taking aligned action to do something about it and change it.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And so for me, aligned action is action simply in alignment with what you actually want. I call it heart, body, soul aligned action. And I say that because I'll just speak for me. There's still my brain and there's still my nervous system and there's still my survival parts that run, and they run without much energy. But that heart consciousness, that soul's aligned wisdom, that body's wisdom, that wealth consciousness is often whispering. It's a sort of silent power. It's very powerful, but I call it gentle power. It's not going to shout and scream. Your ego and the survival brain is going to shout and scream and be really mean and all of that stuff. And it requires space to listen. And then really asking, what is the action that's aligned with what I want? And often the action we're taking all the time, I'm so busy, like running around like a headless chicken, is all from patterns. What you think is you're running in your system, it's running in your nervous system, your energy system. And so aligned action, there's two pendulum things I find. It's either going to scare the absolute crap out of you because it's new and unknown, or it's going to be really boring. It's like, that's the thing you have to do consistently, like to get the results. It's just consistent.
Yeah. And
we're addicted to the drama, or addicted to the stress, or addicted to the stories. And it's quite a wild, it's like a wild, stormy seas inside of us sometimes. So that aligned action, like I said, it's simple, but not necessarily easy to connect to it and find it and lead from your life in that place.
Beautiful. Thank you for explaining that. What's a money ritual or practice that you return to when you start to feel disconnected from wealth consciousness?
I use my money manifestation mastery method, which I can share with you. I am the number.
Yes, please do. Please do.
Essentially, it's at first you need to create space. So this is a space you really practice. That could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, where you're not interrupted. Just a quiet, safe space. First, step one. And then you want to go and relax. So my step one is relax, which is easier said than done. And so you could use breath work, you could use meditation, you can use sort of, I love using journaling. I call it Right into Wealth. And then you want to release. So all the stuff we're talking about, the thoughts, the stories, the beliefs, the emotions, the patterns, the programs, we want to let go of anything that is in the way of you manifesting the money or the wealth that you usually desire. And as we've been talking about, there's a lot there. So we want to, I call it, excuse me, but it's like doing a daily dump. We are releasing the toxic waste material every day. And because it builds up, we need to do a daily release. We're really energetically backed up and constipated more than we realize. And so we want to let it out. What is it? And really let it be messy and ugly. Then connect to what it is that you want. So I call this future wealth for you, the version of yourself that already has what you want. So there is a version of you that actually knows how to manifest, that knows how to create, that's aligned with wealth, that's not separate from it. And we want to create space to connect to that part of you. And also it's about building a relationship with that part of you too, because most people don't even realize they have this inside of them. And then from there, once we connect to that part of you that's already got the thing, that already is the thing, we want to open up to receive. So I call it rewire to receive. We're training your nervous system, your body, your whole being, that it's safe to receive. Because even though you want the money or you want the thing, there's a part of you that actually doesn't feel safe in wealth. So this is about, I call it relax into riches or rest into riches. And then from there, once you're really locked in and connected and relaxed, you release, you're embodied, you're receiving, we then tune into aligned action from that place. So again, we're out of the head, we're in the heart, your nervous system is regulated, and then we're like, what is the action that's going to bridge the gap between where I am and where I want to be? And like I said, sometimes it's just boring, simple, consistent steps. You need to develop a new habit, very practically, often. Or it's something that terrifies you. Like maybe it's, you need, like for me, it was like, you need to be visible, you need to be on camera, you need to talk to the world about this. And I was like, oh my God. Like everything in me was like, you might as well ask me to walk into a fire and die. That was how much fear I had. So I had to dismantle a lot to just move forward. So sometimes our aligned action is going to be way out of your comfort zone. And it's about building safety to move forward.
Love it. Thank you very much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
How has your definition of abundance evolved as your soul's work has deepened?
Such a good question. So I would say in my 20s, I really developed this connection with my soul, my higher self, the heart, the higher realms of what abundance is. And it was just pure energy, the abundance of love, the abundance of energy, that there was more than enough, and really developing that. And I would say it's from the waist up. And I'd go there in meditation and tap into that. And it was beautiful. And I'd be channeling and all into physical. I call it integrated wealth. So what does that look like in your relationship? What if the look like for your body and your from all those wealth pillars around? Because our physical body is limited. We have an abundance of energy, but actually we don't have an abundance of time in this body on this planet. So it's about understanding, to me, the preciousness of life, and how do we bring, for me, it's about how do we bring more and more of that energetic abundance, that soul, higher self, universal wisdom, and bridge that into our physical reality. This is a big part of my work and my mission, is how do we do that? How do we create more like abundance in everything that we're doing? And we've got a lot of cleaning up to do. So it's hard. It's sort of harder. It takes more time to land things and ground things into physical reality. On the energy world, we can manifest like that. But to anchor it into a business or into your wealth or into your relationships, that takes time. So for me, where I am now with abundance is it's about patiently creating into our physical reality in alignment with that beautiful kind of spiritual, like it to really root and land and ground this, so that we're not just like blissing out in meditation. We're not just talking about these as concepts. We're actually living it, breathing it, creating from that place.
Yes, patience. Such a tough one. I honestly think that is probably one of the most important skill sets to have as an entrepreneur and in life is patient. And it is hard to learn that skill set and adopt that and embody that. But
yes,
if you can do that, you're fucking laughing. It's a constant work.
it is. Say I have the shadow of impatience. Like impatience is not is a skill I've had to learn, but it's also, it comes from stress and a traumatized system. When we're in that survival mode, we're in like rushing. We need it now. We need it yesterday. And abundance, that wealth consciousness, it does not rush. I always say wealth doesn't rush. It's slow, steady wins the race. And that's why it's relax into riches. But when we're in that survival, it's going to be like hustle, hustle, hard, fast. So all you need to know is when you're impatient, you just know that you've stepped out of wealth consciousness and you've gone into survival mode. And our brains, learning more and more about neuroscience, we're constantly seeking, like we're pleasure seeking all the time. And often building of this stuff can feel really painful and uncomfortable. We don't want that. We just want the result now. Yeah. Actually, the really foundational stuff doesn't work like that. So yes, patience and consistency and like slow, tiny, painful baby steps.
But I always hear money loves speed. Dr. Joe Vitale says that all the time. Money loves speed. You have to act quickly.
Yes, money does, but wealth doesn't. So wealth consciousness is different. But yeah, money loves speed. That's the thing. They're slightly different things. Wealth and wealth consciousness is different to money per se. They're interconnected, but they're not exactly the same thing. But for me, I want wealth consciousness to feed into money. That's, it's true. And I like to really make sure that everything I'm building is in alignment. We're not just hustling for money. That's all.
Yeah, the hustle culture bullshit.
Yeah.
What role does embodiment play in both healing and attracting abundance?
Oh, it's everything, really. Being someone who wasn't in my body at all, really. I was completely not in my body. This has been a long, slow, painful learning experience for me personally. And then also in my 20 years plus of obsessing about blocks, what I found is you can manifest, you can get results without being in your body. But when you're not in their body, you can't really feel it. So coming into the body, which is like I'm safe, which is essentially a regulated nervous system, and your whole being is flooding through your body. This is really where the power of manifestation happens. I call it body, business, bank account, where you're in your body. So your body is, and your space, your whole system is, I am safe. I'm safe to receive. Because if you don't feel safe, you will literally reject or push away or run away from or blow up or spend everything.
Sabotage yourself.
You sabotage, yeah. And so it's about a lot of wealth creation is about feeling safe, which maybe sounds a little bit crazy, but it took me a long time to understand that even though we want something, whether, it's love or money or an experience, just is your whole system in alignment with that? Is your body on board? Because if it's not, it will unconsciously reject, push away, run away from, hide from the very thing that you want.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. What would you say is one of the biggest myths that you wish people would stop believing about manifestation?
God.
Let's say one of the biggest.
No, the idea that the universe brings you something because you've been good, like that it's coming from an outside source. That I'm going to think this thing and then it's going to come to me from outside of myself. What most people don't understand is most people don't realize that they're manifesting. So we usually project out onto this power of God, source, universe that's separate from them. That if I'm deserving or I'm good enough or I'm a good enough person or whatever, then I will be given it. It's not actually how it works. And for me, it's a very small little girl version of how it works. And it's kind of like a beggar's mentality a little bit. So the truth is you are the source. You are the source. You're co-creating with life in the universe. But we are so disconnected from our own power that we project outside. And it's like fluff. It's manifesting 101. There's some really basic stuff. And I was there, and that's what I started with as well. And I've been obsessed with this subject, like I said, kind of interrogating and wanting to understand how it works and why it works on a deeper and deeper level. So yeah, that would be my bugbear, is like thinking that it's going to come from outside of you, from some other source, if you're just a good girl.
Yeah. Can you share what Manifestation 101, you said it's very basic. Can you just share that? The basics?
Yeah, there's a lot of things in manifestation. Affirmations. Think it, and it will happen. Gratitude practices. And it's not that none of those don't work and aren't true, but they're, for me, missing a lot. The kind of, I call it manifestation mastery, like the heavyweight champion of manifestation. And so, yes, all those things work and are important, but for me, they're like missing. For me, also the embodiment piece, for example. It's not just about thinking it, although that is really powerful and really important. And actually, it's deeper through the body. So that's what I would say, is like, stop thinking it's outside of you and start understanding that it starts within. It's just we're not connected to that part of us. We're in separation of that part of us. Most humans are, from my experience anyway.
How would you define manifestation? What does that mean to you? The word manifestation.
It's a very good.
I'm just curious. I'm just rolling with it here.
So I would say it's our innate ability to create.
Okay.
And we can create. The universe doesn't judge. It's not good or bad or right or wrong. Yeah, as we can see, there's people creating all sorts of things on this planet, right?
Yeah.
So my passion is, we're creating all the time, we're manifesting all the time, whether we like it or not. We're based on how we're thinking, how we're feeling, and the actions we're taking, and our perception of reality. So we're all manifesting all the time. It's just, my passion is, how do we start consciously creating what we actually want to experience? Which for most people is love and peace and safety and ease and joy. Is never, ever going to be just that, because that's not what I don't think Earth School is about. But yeah, it's just that we are creation.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. What was the very first thing that you manifested that made you stop in your tracks and say, holy shit, this is real. This does work?
It's a very good
Do you remember?
question. There's two things that come to mind, but the first one is, I remember when I first learned about it. And I think the very first book I read was The Secret. And that was all like, it kind of aged myself now, but let's early 2000s. And I remember thinking, okay, this works. Let me go to the test. And I wanted to go and do this Ayurvedic retreat in India. There was this sweet Panchakarma retreat, and I really wanted to go. I didn't have any money. I was so broke. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to put this to the test. This thing works. Let's see. And so I started I basically decided the amount of money I wanted or needed to go. And then it was very miraculous, where suddenly all these like different things happened. My boss offered me this bonus. I was working in this health food shop. Money just came from different places, and it was exactly the amount of money I needed. And I thought, okay, this thing works. But it wasn't from me trying to make it or earn it. It was really cool. So yeah, that was probably the first time I really, particularly money manifestation. I had already had a number of very miraculous healing experiences that before then around my own health issues and clients, but I would have called that healing. It's similar, manifesting health.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was the first one I was like, when I really put it to the test.
Isn't that fucking wild, really? When you think about it, you want this, and it's taking the aligned action to make it happen, doing the different things. But fuck, we are capable of absolutely anything and everything if we put our minds to it, if we believe in ourselves, if we trust in ourselves. Because as you said multiple times throughout this, we have everything we need right here. It's all within us. Stop looking outside for validation. Stop looking outside for all of these other things to make shit happen for you, because you're the one that makes it happen, and you are the only one that can make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's lots of ways that we could argue at that point. But if you want to change, if there's something you really want, you have to, it's really simply, it's actually just about focusing, like getting really focused on it, and then all your energetics in alignment with that, but then just taking action towards it. Some of it's really basic. Some of it's really practical, not just mystical, magical, spiritual, which it also is, but it's also just focus on what you want and move towards it. and stop doing all the other things that are distracting all your time.
This all ties in. We already talked about your money manifestation mastery, the 5 steps to that. Could you just go over those again one more time? Because I think it's so important that we drive these points home for people to know that it is possible for them.
Yeah.
So what are the 5 steps of manifesting?
I mean, so this is all my book as well. If anyone needs to really understand it more, because it's really counterintuitive. I just want to say it's a really illogical thing when you're in like money survival brain. To relax? Are you kidding me? So I remember when my guidance was telling me what to do. I was like, what? You're telling me to go for a walk and just stop working? But I'm trying to make money here. What are you talking about? So anyways, it's first create space to do nothing. Space of being. We're going to create a safe space, switch off all distractions. You go in, we breathe. Ideally meditation. If you can't meditate, journal. We want to relax. Drop into the power of the present. And then release all the stress, the thoughts, the stories, the beliefs, the emotions, what your nervous system is doing. Release until essentially what you're doing is regulating your nervous system. And then you want to embody the version of yourself that has what you want. I call this embody your wealth. So who is the version of you that already has it? How are they being? What are they thinking, feeling, being? They're usually quite relaxed. And it's this deep, and basically you're going into the power of the present, dropping in, becoming it now. It's not out there, it's in here. And then from there, what happens naturally is we start opening up to receive. This is called rewire to receive. You can't force yourself to receive, but again, through the breath and through relaxing and releasing, you'll create space to receive. Very counterintuitive. But I'm going to tell you, the challenge with the receiving is you need to be vulnerable. And that's what blocks people from receiving. So we go into vulnerability. You might feel all the feelings. You might feel everything, sensitive, all of it. And then you open up to receive. And then once you're in alignment with that vortex, it's already here. It's already done. There's no separation between yourself and what you want. Then you tune in that inner wisdom or your higher self. What aligned action do I need to take? What is that simple baby next step aligned action that's going to bridge the gap between where I am and where I want to be? And again, practical reality. It's a new habit that you probably need to do consistently. And sometimes, like, honestly, I've had so many just miraculous manifestation stories that there are things that come out of thin air that seem like you could never force or make happen. And that is the beauty of this work. And you also have to build it and create it through consistency. So it's both. It's like practical and magical, both.
Beautiful. So I can't just sit here and say, I'm going to manifest this and it's going to drop in my lap.
You can.
Very unlikely. You have to do some work.
It does happen. So a lot of people say, win the lottery. I'm like, okay, yeah. And are you willing to do the work to actually create it? So what my guidance says, like, Lara, you want this money or you want to bring this in. You haven't built any way for this to come into your life. So you like, so I ask clients, what are all the ways in which money can come into your life now? What do you have here? Because it needs a funnel. It needs something to come into. It can come in through other people. It can come in through other opportunities. It can come in, yes, like the lottery, and you can definitely play with it. It's fun to play with that. I play with all the magical ways that things can come in and be willing to do the work, to build, to create. So this is why I love working with business owners and entrepreneurs, because we're also building, we're path makers. We're cycle breakers. We're doing the work. So one's very passive, and this is the bit that's what I played in for a long time. And I want to laugh at myself for one. Yeah. I learned this because I was doing all this energy work and I was manifesting. There were a lot of really amazing things I manifested. I remember sitting there meditating to ask my guidance. I'm like, how come that hasn't manifested? And how come that hasn't manifested? And my guidance said, Lara, you have to leave your bedroom. I'm like, we can only do so much in the energy world. You are the one in the human physical body. You need to go and take action. I'm like, and I really struggled with action. I had a lot of trauma and I'd go into total freeze and flight mode. So this was a real challenge for me. Some people are great action takers. For me, it's been a nightmare. And I've had to learn how to do that slowly and painfully. So we have to sometimes be the one that's taking action to bridge that gap. So it's both. I think it's and, not or.
Yeah. Okay. What is one tip that you can provide for our listeners that they can immediately implement so that they can start stepping into their manifestation mastery?
A very quick thing you can do is something I call your prosperity posture. So how does the version of yourself that already has the money or the wealth or the thing or the experience you want, how do they hold themselves? So we can do a very quick, it's usually like shoulders back, good posture. how are they holding themselves? 'Cause often when we're in lack and scarcity, we tend to hunch over. It's really hard to feel crappy when you're actually have really good posture. So that's a very fast, almost instant hack. That's one. And then the other one is, what's the feeling? What is the feeling of the thing that you want? What's the feeling of that money or the feeling of that wealth, the feeling of that love? And connect to it. Connect to it. So when you're having a really bad day, it's quite hard to do that. That's why the posture is good. But it's that consciousness is with you. It's in you and it's there. We just have to create space for it. So those would be the two little hacks. And to remember that actually the source of manifesting is your state of being. And that is a discipline. I said simple, but not easy.
Thank you for sharing that. How do you move through the discomfort of expansion? The moments when you know you're outgrowing the old you, but the new one isn't fully there yet, hasn't fully arrived yet.
Oh, man. It's not. I think, you know what? The first thing to say is it sucks. Let's just say that first. And I say that kind of jokingly, but I used to think every time I started hitting up against that edge, I used to freeze in flight because I thought, this feels bad, therefore it is bad. And what I didn't understand, I call it the pain portal to prosperity, that moving through that pain is part of this as well. And it is letting go. A lot of it is releasing. So for me, a big part of this work, I call it grieving into gold. We have to feel the feelings. So one of the biggest things that blocks us from manifesting is a feeling we don't want to feel. So going in and just holding space for the sadness. I feel sad a lot because I'm letting go and releasing of the old identity. Grieving, no, we don't know how to grieve in our culture, at least these Western cultures.
No, we don't.
And so when you don't grieve, you can't let go. And it's in the moment, it feels bad, but actually once you let go, like when you have a really good cry, like it actually feels good. Yep. It's that pre-cry that feels really bad. So it's understanding that death and rebirth cycle. It's actually the most natural thing in the world, but we resist it. And I'm actually, because I'm 100% in this path all the time, I'm always uncomfortable. And pretty much like I'm always up against an edge. And so if you're in the game of transformation and evolution, you're always up against edges. So it's not bad to be uncomfortable. It's just there's good pain and bad pain. And there's the pain of evolution. And then there's the pain of things that aren't good for us. And it's about figuring out what's good pain versus what's like unhealthy pain.
Beautiful. Lara, if all the titles were stripped away, coach, mentor, healer, all of the hats and titles, who are you really underneath all of it?
I do love this question very much. And so I would say I'm a highly sensitive, deep feeling, creative, passionate ball of energy.
All right. Beautiful. What do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become successful?
So when people tell me their problems or tell me what the issue is, in an instant, I can see the root of it. I can see the root of the problem. And then instantly I can see who they are beyond the problem. So it's a superpower I've had for a long time, but it's also a skill I've developed, and then help people to just hack that pain or problem in alignment with their higher self, their heart, their soul. And then I help people take them through that process or teach them how to do that for themselves.
Beautiful. And so speaking of success, how do you define that word? What does the word success mean to you?
Such a good question. And again, similar to what does wealth mean, really an individual thing. And we have so much programming on us about what success is and what success isn't. And I think that really gets in the way. So again, it's like, what is success to you will be different to what is success for me. At this point in my life, I feel it's about the quality of my relationships and how I'm being and everything that I'm doing. So yes, it's really nice to get a certain result, but it's also it's all the things I overcome in order to create a result now that is true success for me, because I've manifested pretty much everything that I wanted. And you get there, once you manifest, you're like, oh, next? Like there's just, it sort of doesn't really, the actual thing isn't really the fulfillment. It's sort of who you're becoming on the way. So now it's like quality of relationships and how I'm being through everything I'm doing, including like challenges and pain and all of that stuff. So that's for me how I define success at this time in my life.
Okay. What would you say is one of the most important things you've learned in your life? And what was your life like before you learned it? What was your life like after learning it?
Learned a lot of things, Brad. I would say is that I'm not a victim. So there was a big story running in me, in my lower self, not in the highest version of myself, that really felt like a victim of my circumstances. And I felt stuck and trapped and all alone. And I would have fought you. I would have fought you to back that story up. And I have to say, I didn't learn this. This wasn't a one and done learning. This was like bashing my head against a brick wall learning. And there were many moments where I realized that wasn't true. And so now it's just understanding that I'm the source of creation, of creating my life. It doesn't mean I can create absolutely every single little thing that I want all the time. But if I really want something, I can make it happen if I'm willing to do the work. Beautiful. And I just so wish I'd really got that a long time ago.
Here we are now, and you have it. So there you go. What's something surprising that you've learned about yourself in the last year?
I'm way stronger and more resilient than I realized, that I can actually pretty much probably face and overcome anything.
Beautiful. What would you say is one of your biggest life lessons or teachable moments? And what did you learn from it?
That I am love. For most of my life, I thought it was a piece of shit. And I was bad and too much and disgusting and terrible. For a long time, there was a very deep, dark shadow I was carrying for a long time. And actually what I've realized is it's like the complete opposite is true, that I am just pure love. And from that understanding, I can then trust myself that everything I do and everything I'm creating is ultimately founded and rooted in love. And so I can trust myself.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that vulnerability. What does the word empowerment mean to you?
Empowerment is, again, understanding that we have the power to consciously create our lives, and any place where you feel disempowered, there is a journey of coming back into your power. And this is about for me, it's really about coming into connection with yourself, with your body, with your heart, with your soul, the higher self, with the universe, and knowing that you are in connection with that, or there's a place where you can be in connection with that. And then making sure that bridges into all areas of your life through your physical lived experience as well. And that is a journey. It's a journey to come home to your power. And it's a process.
Come home to yourself. Yes, absolutely. Okay, we're going to jump into a little rapid fire section. So the next grouping of questions just be 1, 2, 3 word answer type thing, okay? What is one word that describes the woman you're becoming?
Safe.
What's one thing you want but cannot buy with money?
You know what? I thought about this question. I actually have everything that I want.
Okay.
So actually, there's some things I want with money. I would have said love, but I feel like I really got it now.
If you could teach the world one thing, what would it be?
You are love.
How would you describe yourself in one word?
Brave.
What is one thing you love about yourself that is not related to your physical appearance?
My big heart.
What is your favorite self-care practice?
Swimming.
And that concludes our rapid fire section. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. I created a bonus question for you that I did not send ahead of time. If other people could use 3 words to describe you, what would you want those 3 words to be?
Safe, loving, and courageous.
Okay. If you could step into my shoes, what question would you have asked yourself that I didn't ask you?
What drives you, or what's your mission?
Okay. What's your mission?
So my mission is to help all human beings become fully integrated so that we are creating in our life, in all areas of our life, in alignment with our hearts and souls and the planet and our bodies. It's a big mission.
It is.
It's a vision. It's going to happen. It's just taking longer than I thought.
Already is happening.
It's already happening. We're doing it. It's just messier than my vision looks. My visions are beautiful, but I always say my guidance, I'm like, you made it look so pretty. It's way harder.
If you had the opportunity to sit down and have a 1-hour conversation with one woman, any woman in the world, who would it be and why?
Maya Angelou. I just love her voice. Is so soulful and it's just so rich. And I would just want to have her lived experiences. Obviously, she shared a lot in her life, but just what she thinks, how she feels, what she's learned.
Okay. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
I'd say it's going to be tough and hard, but you can do this. You are amazing. You are so powerful. You are a pure ball of light. Just keep going.
Beautiful. Lastly, Lara, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, your tribe, your people, your corner of the world, what would that last 30 seconds sound like? What words of wisdom would you impart?
Such a good one. For me, it would be along the lines of the quality of connections and to really value the connections that you make with human beings, with all of life, and that your presence truly matters. Every single step you take has value and contributes. So take care of all those little small steps and take care of all of those moments of connection and interaction that you have, because they are powerful, and you do matter.
Beautiful. Lara, thank you so much for taking and making the time to be here with me today. I have thoroughly enjoyed every moment of our conversation. Lots of laughs, insights, wisdoms, your knowledge. Just an absolute pleasure and honor to have you here today and to be able to share in your journey and your story and the beautiful light you put out into the world through the work you do. Thank you for allowing me into the space to co-create this incredible interview with you. I appreciate you. I am grateful to call you a friend and to have you as a member of the Empowerography community.
Thank you so much, Brad. You are an amazing man. Thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed our conversation today.
Thank you. I appreciate and receive that. Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of your Empowerography podcast. Today, my guest has been Lara Waldman. She is a manifestation expert, a wealth activator, a business mentor, and a healer. Thank you so much, Lara. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at visuphoria.ca, follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast, and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.